Welcome to another edition of Dan Frequently Asked Questions. In this edition, we'll be discussing symptoms of tingling after flying after diving. Keep watching. We got a question from a diver who had been doing 22 dives over a number of days on the Great Barrier Reef, and then waited 24 hours before flying, and then subsequently developed tingling over the thigh. And they were concerned whether this was or wasn't related to decompression illness and flying after diving. Well, first of all, you certainly followed the protocol and the recommendations in terms of multi-day diving, at least waiting 24 hours before flying. So you did that correctly. You didn't have any symptoms prior to flying, and that's another very important thing. And secondly, the symptoms that you describe are tingling. In other words, there's no weakness as far as we could understand from the history you gave, but you described tingling. Now, if I could venture a guess, there are a number of nerves that can be compressed simply by sitting or wearing a tight weight belt or having heavy dive gear, and all of those cause a very, very specific impingement of peripheral nerves. In other words, nerves that supply the distant areas of our body that can be compressed at various ways along the way and cause tingling. The one that you're most familiar with would be the funny bone. If you tap here, you feel tingling around the arm. Now, the lateral cutaneous femoral nerve supplies the area of the thigh above the knee, and it tingles, if it's affected, over this area. If it goes below the knee, then it's usually related to a nerve root, but if it is further down the path of the nerve, then it only tingles up to the point of the knee. So if this is the case, don't worry, it is what we call an oligoneuropathy or a mononeuropathy, one nerve or a single nerve or few nerves being involved. And it is inconceivable for decompression illness to give you that discrete a lesion, particularly because it is known to be related to a single nerve crushing, pressing, or deprivation of circulation because of pressure. It usually responds within a week or so, and sometimes taking anti-inflammatories may hasten that process. Clearly, if you remain concerned, you should see a diving physician or emergency physician. It's unlikely to be necessary to see a neurologist. And I would also encourage you simply to Google my name, Dr. Frans Cronje, and All That Tingles Is Not Bends. There's a presentation on YouTube that actually discusses these mononeuropathies. It is in the last part of the presentation, so you can scroll through the initial stuff which discusses the typical presentations of decompression illness and then goes into these particular manifestations and see if those may be applied to you. I think they will, and there we can really provide you with some reassurance. So please let us know what's going on, and remember, if there are any other symptoms, in other words, it's not just the thigh, but even if they were transient blindness, transient dizziness, transient anything, skin rash, if there was something else, we need to know about it. But in isolation, as you've described the history, I would not be concerned and certainly not suspect there to be a progression of symptoms, and rather expect an alleviation of symptoms after a course of 2 to 3 weeks at most. If it persists after that, please do see either a neurologist or diving physician. Thank you for your question, and until next time, safe diving.